Hello everyone, it's good to be back. So we are continuing our shir in Dishu Ba'alacha. We are on Reish Mem Dalet Amid Beis. We are beginning Siman Shin Ayin Hey. Ma Heim Hadvarim Hashruyim B'Chatzer. What are things that are inside the Chatzer? She'enam Oisrim, that do not create a problem, that they don't aser one Chatzer on the other. We'll see what this means. Ubay Dalet Seifim, and there are 4 Seifim. So the Mechaber begins. Says the Mechaber, Mirpeset shehu derech la'aliyos ha'pesuchim la. If you have a porch, this is a raised porch, a raised gallery. If you think about a lot of motels that we have around nowadays, where you have a second floor, a second story porch, and you go up a staircase up to the porch, and you walk along the porch, and the various motel rooms open up onto the porch. That's what this mirpeset is. This mirpeset is like a second story porch that opens up onto a second floor apartments. So mirpeset, you have this porch, shehu derech la'aliyos ha'pesuchim la, which is the way by which you get up to these second story apartments that open up onto the porch. V'aimedes bechatzer, and this porch is overlooking the chatzer. So downstairs on the ground floor, you have the chatzer, and you have diris, you have apartments that open up onto the chatzer. There's also a staircase that goes up to a second story, and over there you get into the second story apartments. Now, like the Mishnah Berurah is going to say, this second story porch is at least 10 tfachim off the ground level. Va'olam la besulam, and you go up to this second story porch by way of a ladder or a staircase. Ubenei ha'aliyos yardim mimena lechatzer. The people who live in the second story apartments, they go downstairs from the porch down to the chatzer. Va'oivrim l'rishus harabim, and then they go through the chatzer to go out to the rishus harabim. Einam oisrim al benei hachatzer. They are considered 2 separate chatzeros, and they don't aser. The people who live in the second story apartments, they don't aser onto the people who live downstairs if they don't join in one combined eruv. So let's understand what this means. Let's say you have one chatzer, one big chatzer, and there are 20 units on one side of the chatzer and there are 20 units on the other side of the chatzer. And there's nothing separating the 2 chatzeros. If the 20 units on the left make their own eruv, and the 20 units on the right make their own eruv, now nobody could transfer a keli sheshavas babayis to the chatzer, or vice versa, because you have one chatzer, and half the residents of the chatzer made one eruv, half of the residents of the chatzer made another eruv. So guess what? They aser on each other. You have 2 entities in one chatzer, they aser on each other. Over here, what the Mechaber is saying is, the people that live downstairs on the ground floor, they are considered one chatzer, and the people who live upstairs off of the raised porch, they're considered a separate chatzer. So if the downstairs people make one eruv, and the upstairs people make another eruv, each one is going to be allowed to transfer kelim from their houses to their chatzer, and vice versa. So the people who live downstairs, they could take a lawn chair, sheshavas babayis. If they have a lawn chair that started off Shabbos in their house, they could take it out to the chatzer. And the people upstairs, if they have a lawn chair that started off Shabbos in one of their apartments, they could take it to their porch. Their porch is considered their chatzer. The downstairs apartments have the chatzer as their chatzer. Each one can make an independent eruv. They don't have to make an eruv together, and they don't aser on each other. And the sulam, the staircase, or the ladder, is the pesach. It's the doorway that goes from the upstairs chatzer to the downstairs chatzer. Like the Mechaber says, the sulam taras pesach alav, because the ladder or the staircase has a din of a pesach. The heavy kishtei chatzeros, and the upstairs and the downstairs are like 2 separate chatzeros, upesach beineim, and there's a doorway between them. She'em rotzu ma'arvim yachad. If they want, they can join in one combined eruv. If they join in one combined eruv, then somebody who lives upstairs will be allowed to take his lawn chair, sheshavas babayis, and he'll be able to take it to the downstairs chutzner for the Pirkei Avos share on Shabbos afternoon. That's if they join in one combined Erev. Ve'im ratzu, but if they want, kol echad marav la'atzmai. The upstairs tenants can make their own Erev, and the downstairs people can make their own Erev. Now we're going to stop at this point in the Mechaber, because the next piece of the Mechaber is going to be a caveat to this rule. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's see the Mishnah Berurah. Says the Mishnah Berurah in Eis Katan Aleph, Einam oisrem al b'nei hachotzer. The people who live upstairs off the second story porch, they don't aser on the people who live downstairs. What does that mean? Says the Chavetz Chaim, what does it mean they don't aser? Kisheloi ervu yachad. If they didn't join in a combined Erev. If the upstairs people and the downstairs people did not join in one combined Erev, rather the upstairs people made their own Erev and the downstairs people made their own Erev, we don't say that they aser on each other. Ella b'nei ha'aliyos la'atzman, the upstairs people are seen as their own independent entity, u'b'nei ha'chatzer la'atzman, and the downstairs people who live off of the chatzer, they're considered their own entity. And we don't see them as being one chutzner, where half of the people in the chutzner made their own Erev, and half of the people in the chutzner made their own Erev, the Asri Ahadadi, so that they would aser on each other. Ella, rather, they're two independent chatzeros. Umayri, and we're talking about a case when the second story porch is raised at least 10 tvachim off of the ground level of the chutzner. Because if the upstairs porch is not at least 10 tvachim off of the chutzner, then it would be considered one chutzner with the downstairs. If the upstairs porch is less than 10 tfachim off of the ground level of the chutzner, then we cannot look at the upstairs gallery, the upstairs porch, as being a separate entity, as being a separate chutzner from the downstairs. If it's within 10 tfachim, it's one with the chutzner. Okay. Says the Mishnah Berurah in Eis Katan Beis, if they want, they could join in one combined Erev, or if they want, they could each make two independent Eruvin. Says the Mishnah Berurah Katan Beis la'atzmai, they could each make their own independent Erev. Ritzayna loymar, what the Mechaber means to say is, and if they will make their own independent Eruvin, umuter letaltal afilu klei habayis lechotzer. So now the downstairs people, their apartments are called the bayis, the bottom, the houses. So then they'll be able to take klei habayis, they'll be able to take something like a lawn chair that started off Shabbos in one of their houses, lechotzer, to the downstairs chotzer, because they have their own Erev. V'chein klei aliyah lamer peset. And so too, the people who live upstairs will be allowed to take a klei aliyah. What's a klei aliyah? A keli that started off Shabbos in one of the upstairs apartments, lamer peset, out onto the porch, because the porch is their chotzer. Aval, however, klei abayis lamer peset, to take a klei abayis, to take a keli that started off Shabbos in one of the downstairs unit, and to bring it upstairs onto the merpeset, oy klei aliyah lechotzer, or to take a keli that started in one Shabbos in one of the upstairs units and take it downstairs to the chotzer, aser, that would be prohibited, kevin shalei ervu yachad, because they didn't join together in a combined erev. So again, what we're doing over here is we're saying, since the upstairs porch is more than 10 tfachim removed from the downstairs chotzer, the apartments that open up onto the upstairs porch, they are one chotzer together with their porch. The people who have apartments downstairs that open up onto the chotzer, they're an independent chotzer. They have their houses downstairs with their chotzer. They're an independent chotzer. The staircase is a pesach, is a doorway that joins these two chatzeros. If they want, they can make a joint erev. If they make a joint erev, they can take from an upstairs apartment to a downstairs apartment, from a downstairs apartment to an upstairs apartment, from an upstairs apartment to the downstairs chotzer. They could transfer kalim all over. Or if they want, they could make two individual eruvin. If they make 2 individual eruvin, so then the upstairs tenants can take kalim from their houses onto their porch, from their porch into their houses, but they cannot take something from their house to the downstairs chutzner. So too the people downstairs, they could take things from their apartments to their chutzner, or from their chutzner to their apartment because they have their own eruv. But they cannot take something from one of their units to the upstairs porch or to one of the upstairs units, because they're 2 separate entities that did not join in a combined eruv. Okay. Now the Mechaber gives a caveat to this rule. We're near the end of Sif Aleph. By me, I'm on the last word of the 3rd line, but right by the ice cut and gimel for the Mishnah Berurah. Ubilvad sheye'arvu kol b'nei merpeset la'atzman. The caveat to this rule is, we're saying that the upstairs and the downstairs could each make independent eruvin. And if they each make independent eruvin, they don't aser on each other. Says the Mechaber that there's a caveat to this rule. If the upstairs people do not make their own eruv, okay? So the people who are living off the porch, they didn't make it eruv chatzeros. All right, what's the halacha if they didn't make it eruv chatzeros? They can't take a lawn chair that started off Shabbos in one of their apartments out onto the porch, because their apartment is their apartment and their porch is the chutzner. So without an eruv chatzeros, you can't transfer a keli shashavas babayis out into the chutzner. So let's say the upstairs people did not make an eruv, but the downstairs people did make an eruv. Now you might think, all right, the upstairs people didn't make an eruv, so they can't carry from their units out onto the porch. The downstairs people did make an eruv, so they have no problem. They could take things back and forth from their units to their chutzner, from their chutzner to their units. Says the Mechaber, no, that's not the case. Because there's an interesting problem over here. And it's complicated. It's a shvera sugya in eruvin, but there's an interesting problem over here. And that is, we have a rule of regel. Let me just get the words right over here. 1 second. Regel ha'asura b'mekayma. The regel, the feet that are prohibited in their own place, oisrin ala chitzayna. They aser on the other place. Now let me give you the background. We have a case brought down in eruvin like this. Let's say you have 2 chatzeros. You have chutzner A and chutzner B. Chutzner A is inside of chutzner B, so that the people from chutzner A, the only way they could get to the Rishus HaRabim is they have to go from their chutzner into the outside chutzner, and then they could get from the outside chutzner to the Rishus HaRabim. So in the case that we always use, we have 2 bungalow colonies. We have colony A and colony B. Colony A is inside over here. Colony B is outside over here. The Rishus HaRabim is outside colony B. Now colony A and colony B are separated by a fence. In the fence, there's a gate. So we know the halacha is, if colony A and colony B want, they could join in a combined eruv. If they don't want, they could each make their own separate eruvin. Now what happened over here is like this. Colony A, the inside one, did not make an eruv chatzeros at all. So in chutzner A, in colony A, you're not allowed to take a keli sheshavas babayis into the chutzner, or vice versa. The outside chutzner, chutzner B, they made their own eruv chatzeros. So again, you might think that chutzner A, they have a problem. They didn't make an eruv chatzeros. They can't move things back and forth. But chutzner B, the outside chutzner, they should be fine. They should be able to take lawn chairs that started Shabbos in one of their houses and take it out to the chutzner. Why not? They made it eruv chatzeros. The halacha is that that's not true. The halacha is, since the people who live in chutzner A, in the inside chutzner, since they have a drisas haregel, since they walk through chutzner A to get out to the Rishus HaRabim, a little bit they are considered residents of chutzner A, because they need chutzner A. They need to go through chutzner A. The only way they can get to Rishus HaRabim is by going through chutzner A. Therefore, if they make an eruv and they make an eruv, if the inside chutzner makes an eruv and the outside chutzner makes an eruv, they don't aser on each other. we don't say that the people who live in the inside Chatzar are so much considered residents of Chatzar A that they must join in a combined Erev, otherwise they aser on each other. That we don't say. We consider them two separate Chatzeros, as long as they each made their own independent Erev. But if the inside Chatzar did not make their own independent Erev, so that the people who live in the inside Chatzar are not allowed to carry things back and forth from their houses to their Chatzar, so they're called Regel Ha'asura B'Mekayma, in their place, in their Chatzar, their Aser. Now they have to walk through the outside Chatzar to get to the Rishus HaRabim. They Aser the outside Chatzar as well, because they're Aser in their place, and they're a little bit residents of the outside Chatzar, because they have to walk through it to get to the Rishus HaRabim. Since they're Aser in their place, and they have to walk through the outside, they Aser the outside. That's a halacha that we're going to see in Shin Ayin Ches, and maybe we'll be Zoyche, Be'ezus Hashem, maybe we'll explain it more in Shin Ayin Ches. But that's the case in Erevin, and that's the halacha in Shin Ayin Ches. That halacha applies here in our case too. Let's say the people who live in the Aliyah, let's say the people who live upstairs, neglect to make their own Eruv Chatzeres. But the people who live downstairs, they made their own Eruv Chatzeres. But the people who live upstairs, how do they get out to the Rishus HaRabim? They come downstairs to the Chatzar, and by way of the Chatzar, they go out to the Rishus HaRabim. Now, if they didn't make an Erev upstairs, they're Regel Ha'asura B'Mekayma, they're Aser in their own place, they're Aser upstairs, and they have to go through the downstairs. They have a Drisas HaRegel on the downstairs. So a little bit, they're considered residents of the downstairs. Since they're Regel Ha'asura B'Mekayma, since they're Aser upstairs in their own Chatzar, by virtue of the fact that they have to go through the downstairs, they're going to Aser the downstairs, and now the people who live downstairs, even though they made their own Erev, they're not going to be allowed to transfer things from their houses to their Chatzar, because the upstairs people are going to Aser them. Let's see this inside. The Mechaber says, when is it true that the upstairs and the downstairs could each make their own Erev, and the upstairs people will not Aser the downstairs people? Says the Mechaber, Ubelvad sheye'arvu kol b'nei mirpeset la'atzman. It's only true that the upstairs people don't Aser the downstairs people if the upstairs people make their own Erev. But if they don't make their own Erev, they will Aser on the downstairs people. So they don't Aser on the downstairs people if they make their own Erev, kedei shetehei regel hamuteres b'mekayma. Because by making their own Erev upstairs, they become Regel Hamuteres B'Mekayma. Now they're mutter in their own place, they're mutter in the upstairs. Since they're mutter in the upstairs, they don't Aser in the downstairs. Says the Mishnah Berurah, nice cut and gimel. The Mishnah Berurah explains what I just said. Ubelvad she'arvu zok the Chavetz Chaim. Ritzaner loymar, what the Mechaber means to say is, the emloi ervu b'ftei atzman. If the upstairs people do not make their own Erev, v'hi asura b'mekayma, so that now they're Aser in their own place, they're Aser upstairs, then Oiseres Gamkein ala Chatzar, then they're going to Aser on the Chatzar downstairs, L'taltel b'soicha miklei abayis. They're going to Aser the downstairs from transferring klei abayis, from transferring a keli sheshavas babayis to the Chatzar. Why? The mirpeset, because the upstairs porch, Kevin she'ein loy derech acher l'rishus harabim. Since there's no way for the people upstairs to get to the Rishus HaRabim, Kiyim al Yedei HaChatzar, the only way is to go through the downstairs Chatzar. Havalei kechatzar zeh lifnim mizeh. This is identical to the case in Shin Ayin Ches, where you have one Chatzar that's inside of another Chatzar. She'ein loy derech acher kiyim al Yedei Chatzar achitzayna, so that they have no way to get to the Rishus HaRabim except for going through the outside Chatzar. The kaim along the kaman b'simin Shin Ayin Ches, and we paskin in simin Shin Ayin Ches if beis, then b'nei chatzar apnimi loy ervu la'atzman, that if the people who live in the inside chatzar do not make their own erev, tahavalei regel ha'asura b'mekayma, so that the people who live on the inside are regel ha'asura b'mekayma, they're prohibited in their own place. Oisrin ala chitzayna, they're going to aser on the chitzayna. So in order for the upstairs people in our siman over here not to aser on the downstairs people, they must make their own erev. If the upstairs people neglect to make their own erev, then they're regal ha'asura b'mekayma, then they're aser in their own place upstairs, and then they aser on the downstairs. Okay, that was Sif Aleph. Okay, Sif Beis. Says the Mechaber. Imloi ervu yachad. Let's say the people who live on the upstairs did not make a joint erev with the people who live downstairs. So the upstairs people made their own independent erev, and the downstairs people made their own independent erev. Imloi ervu yachad. They did not join in a combined erev. V'yesh b'chotzer, and located in the chotzer downstairs, there is tail, a mound, or amud, or a pillar. Shehu meshutif bein shneim. And this mound, or this pillar, is a partnership between the upstairs and the downstairs. What does that mean that it's a partnership? The upstairs people and the downstairs people both make use of it. Nobody has independent ownership of it. It's not that the downstairs people own it or the upstairs people own it. Everybody owns it together, and it's meshutif. They both use it. Everybody uses it. So now the question is going to be, who does this surface belong to? Does it belong to the downstairs erev, or does it belong to the upstairs erev? What do we do? So if the upstairs and the downstairs did not combine in a joint erev, v'yesh b'chatzer tail ay amud, and there is a mound or a pillar shehu meshutef bein shnehem that belongs to both the upstairs and the downstairs. What's the halacha? So the Mechaber says, Im einam givayim asara tvachim. If this tail, this mound, or this pillar is not more than 10 tvachim high, so the surface of this tail or this amud is within 10 tvachim of the downstairs, of the surface of the chutzner, and like the Mishnah Berurah is going to say, it's also not more than 10 tvachim removed from the upstairs. So the upstairs, the level of the mirpeset, the level of the upstairs porch, is not more than 10 tefachim high off of the surface of this tail or this amud. So then, it's within 10 tefachim of the downstairs, it's within 10 tefachim of the upstairs, it's meshutif, they both use it. So now, what do we do with this? Who does it belong to? Says the Mechaber, Harei elu nechshavim bein achotzer ubein amirpeset. So now it's stuck. It's considered equally, that it belongs equally to the people of the chotzer and to the people of the mirpeset. Ushneim asurim loitzi sham kelim shababatim. So now nobody is going to be allowed to use it for a keli sheshavas babayis. So if you want to take a basket from inside one of the upstairs apartments, and you want to take it, you want to put it down onto the top of this pillar, you're not allowed to. Or if you want to take a basket from inside one of the downstairs houses, and you want to put it up onto the top of this pillar, you're not allowed to. Because what we have over here is, we have a surface that belongs equally to the downstairs erev and to the upstairs erev. And we've said many times before, that when you have a makom chashiv, when you have a surface that's a makom chashiv, it can't become bottled to two different chatzeros. So if it's stuck in the middle, it doesn't belong to the downstairs erev, it doesn't belong to the upstairs erev, so then they aser on each other. They cannot share it. So it asers on each other. Neither one of them could use it for a keli sheshavas babayis. However, for a keli sheshavas b'chatzer, I guess you can. You want to go into the chotzer downstairs and there's an apple, and you want to pick up the apple that was Shabbos b'chotzer. That apple started off Shabbos in the chotzer. You want to put it up onto the amud? You can. You want to take it from the porch, from the mirpeset, and put it there? I guess you can. But not a keli sheshavas babayis. Says the Mishnah Berurah in Ois Cotton Dalet. Bein shnehem. This tail, or this amud, is stuck between the two chatzeros, between the upstairs and the downstairs. The imhu shall echad mehem, if it belonged to one of them, right? Let's say this was an amud, let's say this was a pillar that was erected by the people who live downstairs. And it's for their use, it's meyuchad for their use. It's not, the people upstairs have no rights to it. The imhu shall echad mehem, if it belonged to one of them, harehu b'reshusa dechad, so then it would belong to them. Then I don't care where it's located. I don't care if it's located equally accessible to the upstairs and the downstairs. If it belongs to the downstairs people, So then the upstairs people have no rights to it, and then the upstairs people cannot answer the downstairs people from using it. If it belonged to the upstairs people, let's say the upstairs people specifically made this platform so that they could take something from the upstairs, put it down on that thing, go downstairs, and then retrieve it. If it belongs specifically to the upstairs people, then the downstairs people can't answer on them, because it's theirs, it's not theirs. But over here we're talking about a case where it's Meshutif. It belongs equally to both. Says the Mishnah Berurah in Ice Cut and Hay, the Mechaber said, if it's not higher than 10 tfachim off the ground level of the Chatzar. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Haklal Bozeh. What is the rule over here? The rule is, the kol shala echad tashmishay benachas, if in any case where the surface that we're worried about is easily used by one of the chatzeros, what does it mean, tashmishay benachas? Hainu bekal, it means it's easy for them to use it. Ula hasheni bekoshe, but for the other chatzer it's hard for them to use. Loi mikri rak rishus la'isai shetashmishay benachas. It belongs, it's considered the property of the chatzar that could use it easily. The ein hasheni yachal leser alav, and the other chatzar cannot aser on them. Avo im shnehem shavim, but if both chatzeros have equal access to the surface, hein shehu l'shnehem bekal lehishtamish aloyse makayim, whether both chatzeros have easy access to the surface, hein bekosher, or if both chatzeros have only difficult access to that surface, shaykh l'shnehem, then it belongs to both of them. Umemela oisrim zelzeh, and then they're going to aser on each other, lahoitzi lasay makay miklei abayis, to take something that was shavas babayis out onto that surface, kevan shalei ervu yachad, since they didn't join in a combined erev, and now they bang heads with each other. And now the Mishnah Berurah is going to flesh this out a little bit. Ve'eze mikri benakas ve'eze bekosha. How do we determine which chatzar is said to have easy access and which chatzar is said to have difficult access? So he spells it out. Misbar b'Gemara, the Gemara in Erev and Pei Gimel Amud Beis explains, the kol shetzarach l'tashmishay zrika, if in order to use this surface, you have to throw an object to that surface, let's say, for example, the surface of this mound or this pillar is more than 10 tfachim high from where I'm standing, so I'm standing on the surface of the chutzner. And this pillar is 10 tfachim high. So if I'm holding something, I have to throw it up onto the top of this amud. Or, for example, if I'm standing on the second floor porch and I want to use this surface, I have to lower something down onto the surface, meaning that the surface that I'm trying to reach is more than 10 tfachim down from where I'm standing, so that if I want to use the surface, I have to lower something down onto it. That is considered difficult use. But if it's within 10 tfachim of me, whether through throwing or through lowering, mikri benachas, that's called easy access. There are cases where it's considered difficult access, even if in height it's within 10 tfachim of me. Kigoin, for example, where the pillar or the mound, muflag, is separated berichuk makayim, by distance, mimenu, from me, arba tfachim, 4 tfachim, v'tzarech lizrak ba'aver, so that I have to throw it through the air. For example, let's say I'm standing on the merpeset, I'm standing on the porch, and height-wise, the top of this amud is within 10 tfachim of me in height, but it's removed from me laterally. It's more than 4 tfachim distant from me. So, very nice, by height, it's within 10 tfachim, but it's 4 tfachim away. So maybe I have to throw something on it. That is called difficult access. So, The rule over here, the Mishnah Berurah is spelling out. I don't want to lose sight of what we're saying. What we're saying over here is, again, we have this 2-story building in the chutzner. We have units that open onto the chutzner. We have a raised gallery, a raised porch, and we have units opening onto the porch. In the chutzner, there's a pillar or there's a tail, a mound. And it belongs to both the downstairs people and the upstairs people. Now we have to decide who it belongs to. If it's within 10 tfachim of the ground level, and it's also within 10 tfachim of the mirpeset level, so that the mirpeset level and the chutzner level both have easy access to this surface, then they aser on each other, because it cannot belong to both iruvin at the same time. Now the Mishnah Berurah explained what's called easy access, what's called difficult access. Easy access is if it's within 10 tfachim of me height-wise. Difficult access is if it's removed from me more than 10 tfachim height-wise. Another case of difficult access is if it's removed from me dalet tfachim laterally. In distance, it's removed from me dalet tfachim. That's also a case of difficult access. The rule over here is, who does the surface belong to? The surface belongs, if one chutzner, if the downstairs, let's say, has easy access. So let's say the surface of the pillar is less than 10 tfachim high off the chutzner. So then they have easy access. Now, let's say the upper story, it's lower. It's more than 10 tfachim removed from them, height-wise. If they want to put a basket on the top of that pillar, they lean over their mirpeset, and they have more than 10 tfachim height-wise to go down to use it. So for them, they have difficult access. In that case, then we're going to say that the top of the pillar belongs to the downstairs Erev, because they have easy access and the upstairs has difficult access. The other case would be, let's say it's more than 10 tfachim tall off the ground level. So then the downstairs, for them it's difficult access. They have to reach up. For them it's difficult. It doesn't belong to them. If it's within 10 tfachim of the second story, so they have easy access. So the upper story has easy access, the downstairs has difficult access, then we give it to the upstairs. It belongs to their Erev. They could use it for a keli sheshavas babayis. The downstairs people cannot. If it's in the middle, if it's easy access to both, or if it's difficult access to both. If it's 10 tvachim, more than 10 tvachim high for the downstairs, so it's difficult for them. If the second story is very high, so it's more than 10 tvachim low from them, they also have difficult access. Well, guess what? Now it's difficult for them. Again, they're equal. If they're equal, they're going to aser on each other. That's the gist of what the Mechaber and what the Mishnah Berurah is saying over here. Now the Mechaber is going to spell out some cases. So let's just go back a little bit in the Mechaber so we can catch up on the Mishnah Berurah. In the second line of Sif Beis, the Mechaber said, Im einam gevayim asara tvachim. If it's not 10 tvachim tall from the downstairs, so it's within 10 tvachim of the downstairs, harei elu nechshavim ben hachotzer ben hamirpeset, so then it's equal to the chotzer, to the downstairs and to the porch. Ushneim asurim lo yitzi sham kelim shababotim. So they aser on each other. Neither one of them could use it for a keli sheshavas babayis. Says the Mishnah Berurah Nois Cotton Vav, Einam gevayim asar tvachim in haaretz. If it's not more than 10 tvachim off the ground level, v'gam min hamirpeset shalamayla mehem, and also from the upstairs porch, Ein namuch mimena asar tvachim. It's not lower than 10 tvachim off of their level. V'tzarich lizroik ba'avir, so that they would have to throw it. Einam. I skipped. I went back a line. Ein namuch mimena asar tvachim. It's not lower than the upstairs level by 10 tvachim. Da'oz noyach lishneim lihishtamisham. So now the upstairs and the downstairs both have equal access to use it. V'lochein oisrim zalzeh. So now the upstairs and the downstairs aser on each other. Because if it would be lower than 10 tvachim off the level of the upstairs porch, then we would give the surface of this pillar to the bnei hachotzer. Because if it's less than 10 tfachim high off the level of the chotzer, so for them it's easy access. Now it's more than 10 tfachim low off the level of the mirpeset, so for them it's difficult access. So then we give it to the downstairs Erev. The lehem tashmisha benachas, because for the downstairs it's easy access. V'levnei mirpeset, and for the upstairs people, hainu anshe aliyah, the people who live upstairs, shebateim niftachim la'mirpeset, where their houses open onto the porch. V'iskufas pischeim shavala, and the level of their entranceways are equal with the level of the porch. Bekasha, for them it's difficult access. Ushnehem asurim. So the Mechaber said, in such a case, both the upstairs people and the downstairs people would be usher to transfer a keli sheshavas babayis out onto this platform. Ushnehem asurim. V'dafka kishaya hatel v'ha'amud samach lahar mirpeset b'saych arba tfachim. Chavetz Chaim says, realize this is only true if the amud, the pillar or the mound, is within 4 tfachim laterally to the upstairs porch. If it would be removed 4 tfachim laterally from the upstairs porch, then for the upstairs people, it's difficult access because it's removed from them. But for the downstairs people, they have easy access. Again, this case that the Mishnah Berurah is explaining is like this. From the downstairs, the top of the amud is less than 10 tfachim high. So they could walk right up to the amud, they could use the amud. For them, it's easy access. Now, it might be true that the upstairs, the top platform of the amud is within 10 tfachim height-wise of the level of the mirpeset. But if it's 4 tfachim laterally removed from the porch, so now you have to throw a distance of 4 tfachim from the porch to that platform. So even though it's within 10 tfachim of height, it's still difficult access to the Bnei HaMirpeset. So now you're going to give it to the Bnei HaChotzer, not to the Bnei HaMirpeset. Then you would give it to the Chotzer. Now the Mechaber continues with another case. So by me, it's 4 lines off the bottom of the Mechaber, near the end of the line. Let's say the amud or the tail is more than 10 tfachim removed from the ground level of the chotzer. It's more than 10 tfachim tall. But it's within 10 tfachim of height of the level of the porch. And laterally it's within 4 tfachim to the porch. Then b'nei mirpeset mutarim. So then the b'nei mirpeset get it. Because they have easy access, as in contrast to the Bnei HaChotzer. For them, it's difficult access. Says the Mishnah Berurah, nice cut and ches. So it's taller than 10 tfachim off the ground. So for the Bnei HaChotzer, it's more than 10 tfachim high, but it's within 10 tfachim to the porch. If it would be distanced in height more than 10 tfachim also to the mirpeset, then it would be difficult access for the downstairs and the upstairs. And then both would be equal, then they would answer on each other. So in this case that the Mechaber explained, so now we're going to give it to the Bnei HaChotzer. Now we're going to give it to the Bnei Mirpeset, because it's more than 10 tfachim tall from the ground, but it's within 10 tfachim of the Mirpeset. Shetashmisha lehem benachas, because for the Bnei Mirpeset they have easy access. Shehem lo b'saych asar tfachim, because it's within 10 tfachim of height for them. V'gam eina maflogim imena, and it's also not removed from them laterally. So then they get it. Says the Mechaber Vayter, another case, 2 lines from the bottom. Let's say it's more than 10 tfachim high off the ground level. It's within 10 tfachim of the second story level. But if it's removed laterally 4 tfachim or more from the porch, then even though it's more than 10 tfachim tall from the ground level, and it's within 10 tfachim to the porch, Hare elu b'chlal hachotzer v'harmerpeset. Now it's equal to the chotzer and the porch, because they each have difficult access. They can each use it through throwing. So now they're going to aser on each other, and now neither one could use it, not the upstairs or the downstairs, for kelim sheshavsu babayis, unless they joined in a combined eruv. So again, you might have gotten a little confused over here. What was this last case of the Machaber? The last case of the Machaber was like this. It's more than 10 tvachim tall, so it's difficult to access for the people who live downstairs. It's within 10 tvachim, height-wise, of the second story. So height-wise, the upstairs has easy access. However, it's laterally removed from them more than 4 tvachim. So they also have difficult access, because it's removed laterally from them. Now the halacha is, since the downstairs and the upstairs both have difficult access, they're considered equal to each other. Now they aser on each other. Now neither one could use it for kelim sheshavsu babayis. Let's see the Mishnah Berurah. The Mishnah Berurah says, a nice cut in Yud, Afal pisha gavayim, even though it's 10 tvachim high off the ground, v'toich asar lamirpeset, but it's within 10 tvachim to the second story, ritzayna loymar, v'im kein hayashayach lamirpeset, and now you would say that it should belong to the second story, like we said earlier, afilu hachi, still in all, that's not the halacha over here. Kevin shemeflogin mimena arba tvachim, since it's removed laterally 4 tvachim from the second story, ukisharoitzim merpeset lihishtamesham, and if the upstairs people want to use it, rak al yidei zrika, they can only use it by throwing. Mikri tashmisha gam ken bekashe, so now it's considered that the upstairs also has difficult access. So now they both have difficult access, the downstairs people and the upstairs people. Zeh makmas gavoi, the downstairs people have difficult access because to them it's more than 10 tvachim tall. V'zeh makmas rachkai, the upstairs people have difficult access because laterally it's removed from them more than 4 tvachim, so they both have difficult access. And therefore they aser on each other. This is true even though it's within 10 tvachim height-wise of the second story. Now the Chavetz Chaim gives you an interesting case. How about let's say it would also be removed more than 10 tvachim in height from the second story. So what's that case? That case is like this. The amud is more than 10 tvachim tall off the ground level. So the downstairs people have difficult access because height-wise it's more than 10 tvachim tall. It's also more than 10 tvachim low from the level of the merpeset. So they also have difficult access height-wise because it's more than 10 tvachim low from the level of their porch. Now it's also more than 4 tvachim laterally removed from the porch. So now you have an interesting situation. For the people on the porch, they have double difficult access. It's difficult access height-wise. It's also difficult access laterally. For the people downstairs in the chutzner, it's only a single difficult access. It's difficult access height-wise, but not laterally. What's the halacha over there? Do we give it to the Bnei HaChutzner because we say that they have easier access than the upstairs people? Or do we say that they aser on each other because Lamaisa, both of them have difficult access? So let's see what the Mishnah Berurah says. Let's say, not only is it laterally removed from the people on the porch, but it's also height-wise removed more than 10 tvachim from the porch, then yesh deis papaiskim. Then there are conflicting opinions in the paiskim. Yesh Omrim, there are those that say it is the Taz and the Laraba and Rebbeinu Yeruchim and the Graz. They say the Kevan Chalabala Merpeset. Yesh Shtei Reusais, since the people who live upstairs have 2 problems, Shenemuchim Me'asara. It's lower than 10 tvachim from their level. So it's removed more than 10 tvachim from them height-wise. V'gam muflagim arba tvachim. And it's also removed laterally from them 4 tvachim. Im kein tashmish alanche achotzer noach yoyser sham v'nois denoisar lahem. So maybe you say that the downstairs people have easier access, and therefore it should belong to them. However, there are others that say, the Nahar Shalom, the Rashba, the Ritva, the Beis Meir, they say, since Lamaisa, the downstairs people also have difficult access, because it's more than 10 tefachim high for them, Mikri Lishneim Tashmisha B'kosher, now it's considered that it's both of them have difficult access, V'oisrin Zelzeh, and then they should aser on each other. So here, in this case, we have an interesting machlekes hapaiskim. We're going to stop over here in the middle of this Mishnah Berurah. The Mishnah Berurah over here goes off on a tangent to a different case, and we'll continue that tomorrow. Thank you so much for using these videos. I miss you guys. There is a chance that I will be in Staten Island Thursday night, and I'll be able to say the shir Thursday night. I would love to. I hope you'll come if I can be in. I'll keep you posted. Thank you so much. Be well.